My name is Salman and I'm Assistant Professor of Integrated Science and Humanities at Hampshire College.
I'm Kevin Anderson. I teach courses in film and anthropology at the University of Massachusetts, and this is Film Autopsy. Hello, and welcome to a film essay on personhood in the film Moon and Solaris. Moon was directed by Duncan Jones, and there's two versions of Solaris, one directed by Andrei Tarkovsky, 1972, the other done in 2002 by Steven Soderbergh. And I think really central to the film Moon, we'll start with that, is this character of Sam Bell, played by Sam Rockwell, excellent performance. He's the sole occupant of the Sarang station on the moon where they harvest helium-3. Now this is in the future. And as just kind of a brief overview, at one point he's been up there for doing his term, managing the station and harvesting the helium-3, and his time up there, his contract is just about up, and he's really, really ready to go home. He hasn't interacted with any other person for presumably 3 years. I think
5 years.
It's a 5-year contract. But near the end of his contract, some stuff starts to go a little strange for him. He sees visions of a young woman. Some of his teeth start falling out. He's looking more and more disheveled. And then he experiences an accident in one of the moon rovers, and he's rescued by a robot played by or voiced by Kevin Spacey. And then when he wakes up back at the Sarang moon station, fully conscious, he sees a younger version of himself.
Yeah, and we should mention that what we are talking about here, of course, these are. Moon is a fantastic film. You should watch it. But here we are talking about a specific thing which will include spoilers. So
yes,
just be warned, that there will be spoilers about it. So first of all, go and see Moon definitely. And
yeah,
if you
go and see Moon. Pause the film autopsy,
and then come back here.
Come back. Yeah.
I think it raises fantastic questions. Towards the, as the movie progresses, we find out that actually this mining station, which is done for harvesting energy to get the earth off of fossil fuels and things like that.
So it's a very important
It's a very
job,
important,
yeah.
and that's what we have done, and this particular company has done. And the sole occupant, as it turns out, has been cloned, and after every few years, they are kind of they are not told, but they go and sit in a capsule, which they are told they will be sending back to Earth,
yeah.
but instead they are incinerated or something like that. But I think what was interesting about that was this issue of how should we feel about it is when especially this fantastic conversation with the two Sam Bells.
And both played by Sam Rockwell.
Both played by Sam Rockwell, and they are, and one of the smart things about that film is that, first of all, they're not identical. No. There are some films where then the cloning comes in, they show, oh, they are exactly the same. Actually, that is not the case. You do see some differences, and they are both amused by those differences. And I think that is fascinating because that goes again, that just because you are a clone, you would be different.
Right.
But what do you think, which I think is the central point of the film, should we be repulsed? Is this something that's being done wrong?
Like unethical?
Unethical, because he does communicate with his wife.
Well,
and there is some issue with that.
So the communications, as they're even explained to him in the film, are not live transmissions. That he records a message for his wife back on Earth, and the tapes or the signals that he gets are pre-recorded messages from his wife, or so he believes. And so this issue of ethics, I think, is really central to the film and can spur a lot of different conversations. We do feel that, I found it interesting that both Sam Bells, neither one tries to kind of assert dominance over the other and say, I'm the real Sam Bell. They both realize, whoa, we must be clones. But that doesn't necessarily make them bond together. Now, what the company is doing by creating these various versions of an original Sam Bell, who presumably may have manned the first version of the Sarang space station, we don't know. But I think the sympathy goes out to both versions of Sam Bell, even though they both see their situation slightly differently.
But I think we should clarify, when we are talking about clones, it's not that they were born and then they grew up in that context. Here we are talking about fully formed Sam Bells.
Yeah.
And so basically you have this human being, and I think that's where the question that comes in, you have a fully formed human being that comes up, lives for 5 years. And this is where the interesting thing is, however, this person has a memory.
Yeah, that's fascinating
Of
in the film.
Older Sam Bell as well. Now, the original Sam Bell, because he is kind of playing the life of the original Sam Bell, except that it's not.
Right.
And you come up and then you die, and you have this whole story of how you came about and where you will be going. But in reality, you are just working there for 5 years.
5 years.
And going.
But yet packed, preloaded, if you will, with memories, Sam Bell's memories. And this is where I think we can extend the conversation a little bit to Solaris. Because in that film, the character, the astronaut named Kelvin, when he gets to the Solaris space station, his wife, who had passed away, actually taken her life years before, appears there. And she doesn't appear as a clone. She's not his imagination. She is how he remembers her. And she herself has memories. Right. But the really kind of itchy thing about that is that they're not her own memories. They're his memories of what she was like.
So in Solaris, it's the ocean that is, I mean, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's the ocean. And so the reason why this cosmonaut, actually in the original one, and then the astronaut in Soderbergh's version, he goes up because something weird is happening on that station. And so that's why they go over there. And it's not exactly clear, but like sort of like the ocean has created, the Solaris has created this person.
Out of people.
And
it doesn't just happen to Chris Kelvin. Other people on the space station have other people from their past created.
And so again, over there, the interesting question that comes in is that she knows that she knows that I'm a creation of his memories of herself. Yeah. And that's why she is suicidal. Yeah. Because that's how he remembers her. So all she is doing is trying to commit suicide. Yeah. And she wants to have something more. She wants to be a complete person. And so she is struggling with the fact that she's not whole.
Well, and that really gets to this question. Are memories what define us as individuals, as people?
And I think that's where
are they private? I mean, in these two films, the memories are not private. They're shared.
And in some sense, I mean, that's the opposite, because in Moon, he has memories. They may not be his own, right? But he has actually a full memory, and if you don't tell him that, is that okay? Because he is living a fulfilled life. Mm-hmm. Whereas in Solaris, she knows that she is incomplete, but her problem is that her life, whatever she is being envisioned through the prism of another person who's not her. Yeah. So I think it raises this question, is memory essential? Of course, I mean, some people don't have memories, so are they not people?
Right.
I mean, people who who suffer from amnesia and stuff trauma, like that. Yeah. Do we relegate them to being?
Well, memory certainly is a foundational force to our own identity. Right. But I think these two films kind of place that in question, and I think that's where you can get into a discussion about the ethics and whatnot. Can you think of any other films that might have a similar, kind of touching base on this kind of conversation?
Well, I think the one that we saw a few years ago, Never Let Me Go, because that also had another element that if people are being bred for a particular purpose, do they have creativity? Does that make them human, and does that make it ethical to take their organs away and let them die? And so that's the other film that comes in. But I think Moon and Solaris again, beautiful versions. Both of those I really like. Tarkovsky one, it will take you a couple of viewings to go through it because it's a long, slow film, and which was supposed to be an answer to 2001: Space Odyssey. So you can again talking about.
I think in many ways. I mean, if 2001: Space Odyssey is about the evolution of man, Solaris is about like the nature of reality, and it's
an insight. I think Ebert said that that 2001: Space Odyssey was about the outer adventure. Yeah. And then Solaris is about the inside adventure. So both films are very different, and.
I think as the weather is getting chillier, people staying in, watching more DVDs, I think you could really treat yourself to checking out Soderbergh's Solaris, Tarkovsky's Solaris, again, maybe with like a strong pot of coffee brewing, and Duncan Jones is Moon.
Moon was made for $5 million, a small budget film, brilliantly done. I think this is a great example of filmmaking that you don't need a $200 million budget, Prometheus or Dark Knight Rises. No, you can make a fantastic science fiction film if you have the right idea, and I think Duncan Jones did that.
I agree, because this film is about the science fiction that's about ideas, not just the gadgets.